Good evening. Happy New Year. It's 2024. Still the same old geezer sat in the corner of a fans forum. So nothing too new there. But let's hope you've had a wonderful time. I hope your Christmas has been merry, that you've managed to put on half a stone, just like I managed to do by eating far too much chocolate and way too many pigs in blankets. And it is a delight to have you in our company once again for another fans forum. Hi Lane, JJ, TJ, lovely to see you. Oh, I have assembled a crack squad of Manchester United fans to enable us to have this fans forum and to chat through everything that's going on with United women at the moment. So let's have a meeting with them, shall we? Mr. Andrew Wall there, season ticket holder for both men and women. How are you, sir? Everything okay over there?
Yeah, I'm all good. So, like yourself, probably eating too much over Christmas, but yeah, all good.
Did Santa bring you everything that you asked for?
Yeah, so United stuff as well. So brought that along as well. Got a new calendar. So
Santa knows his Andrew. Santa knows his Andrew. And then Vic's down there in the corner, otherwise known as Ella Toon's #1 fan. How are you doing down there, Vic?
I'm good, thank you. Ready for the football to get back now. I'm getting bored.
Bored, but you enjoyed your Christmas?
Yeah, it's all right. Thank you.
Santa brought you everything you wanted?
Yeah.
Okay, very good. Well, they'll get short and sweet on that one. And just there below me, Emma, we tried to get you on for the Christmas show. Didn't quite manage it, but you've managed to find some time in your diary. How are you doing?
Very good. Enjoying the break from uni.
Yeah, I remember those days, enjoying the break from uni. Absolutely. They're long when they do come round, but crikey, hectic during the term. Santa bring you everything, all the elves make everything you wanted?
Yeah, I got my new trainers.
There you go. So you got the trainers. I needed new trainers, and Santa didn't bring me those. So that was unfortunate, but there we are. Well, let's get to business, shall we? As there are so many of you here. Who else managed to join us? Erlin, hello. Jake, hello. Imara, there she is. Of course, got JJ again there. Happy New Year. Yes, John Commode, lovely to see you, and Sporty as well. So I'm going to kick it out there straight away. We will mention a little bit about the takeover at some point during this evening. It's not going to be the main focus because we've got another show coming up about that on Monday where we will focus a lot more on our thoughts on the takeover, but we absolutely will get the gang's thoughts and opinions on that as well. And hello to you, Ivo or Evo. So there we go. We're going to kick off with obviously what the thumbnail said, which is the keys to success, because it's 2024. You get new year, new me. Still the same old Man United, though, so that's not going to change. But what we do want to know is, what are your thoughts on the keys to success? What is it that Manchester United women are going to need to do in order to be able to achieve their objectives for the season? Obviously, there's an FA Cup run that could possibly happen, Conti Cup still to look forward to, and of course, the league's not over. The title might be somewhere in the distance for us to stare at, but top three is absolutely still within the realm. So, Andrew, what do you think are the keys to success for Man United women this season?
I think, a couple of the keys, getting those injured players back as well. Because, as I say, I've been running a bit short in terms of the squad depth. So as soon as we get those players back, even better, so we can start rotating and maybe a little bit more, give those players that have been on a run of games a little bit of a rest as well. But also, I just think going on the attack more in first half, like last season we was like blowing teams away, in the first half, and then sort of like easing off in the second half, whereas this time it's been like the reverse. We're having to sometimes have to go a goal down to be, chasing it, and I'm like, kind of need to put the momentum on our side. So I think that's going to be down to our attack as well. So I think maybe start to score a few more goals as well. So that's down to our forward line as well. So hopefully Jace, starts, firing her in a lot more as well. So they got the ability, does everything right. It's just that last bit at the end. Sometimes I'm just like, it's frustrating. Sometimes, like I say, you should have put that ball away or didn't. So, but yeah, I'm sure she'll come good in the second half of the season, like the rest of the attack as well. And I think another key player, and she's had a good season so far, is Nikita Barris as well. So hope she continues form. I was a bit surprised when I saw the travelling squad. She wasn't on the list. So I'm like, I don't know whether I haven't heard anything else, whether she was injured or there's a reason beyond why she's stayed behind. So hopefully it's not an injury, it's nothing too serious. But one player I'm looking forward to seeing once we get back to watching the women's team as well. So let's say key things for me: getting those injured players back, and the attack starts firing a lot more as well.
Yeah, I mean, some interesting points coming through in the comments. TJ saying that he thinks the majority of the fan base seems to want to blow it all up and start all over again, which I think might be mainly on the men's side. I don't think on the women's side they're quite so vocal, but perhaps you're seeing different things on your timeline to me. Highlane, though, says we need to see an improvement in the way we're set up. The guys said it last time out, the minute we're just too easy to play against. We need to try and fix that. John, of course, talking as well about just winning. That's all we need to do is just win. And Jays will start slow when the goal is. Vic, what would you say are the sort of the key things for you from what you've seen from Man United women so far?
Yeah, I'd agree with a lot of what Andrew said then, especially with Jays. Hopefully that confidence will come. Hopefully this time in sunny Malta will do a good. Just getting that final pass. I do think it's more, she's very good on the ball. It's just having the intelligence to make that last pass or to just shoot. And sometimes she's a bit selfish and sometimes she's not selfish enough. It's just getting that happy medium with her. And yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of key players. Hopefully getting those three midfielders set in stone, because it's been a lot of change. I know we've had injuries as well, which doesn't help. But yeah, definitely trying to get those three back working together, because when they're together and the confident together, it works better. So we're definitely doing that. And yeah, win it. We need to win. I think we can say goodbye to winning the title now, but I do think, second and third, that we're not far away, and we just need to go full throttle at this second half of the season and, beat these big teams. We've got Chelsea coming up. Hopefully, we can go make our mark there. I know it's tough, but if Arsenal can do it, then so can we. So I just think that we need to go and bang some goals in the second half of the season. We need a lot of goals and a lot of wins. I think it's good as well that we've got the FA Cup and the Conti Cup as well. Hopefully we can keep progressing in that as well. So that'll be fun.
There you go. That absolutely spots on. I'm sorry, I've just got to bring it out there, because if you see Vic getting a little bit excited this evening, it's because she's had a brush with a celebrity this afternoon. She's had a wonderful afternoon. So if you just see her randomly smiling at any point, it's probably not you. It's very much just what's going on in her head at the moment. So just throw that one out there. I'll leave it up to Vic whether she wants to tell you that or not. But lots of things being said here, Emma, at the moment. Chris Latham mentioning lots of players have done well individually. Team just doesn't seem like it's clicked as a collective. Needs Skinner to make us better organised in defence and attack and get a settled approach, whereas Jake's gone for the middle of that and said Mark needs to find the right balance in midfield. Either we don't have enough creativity going forward, or Zell is left on her own and gets overwhelmed. So where do you sort of stand on that one? Because just in two messages there, we're basically hearing that Skinner's got to change the defence, the midfield and the attack. And it can't all be that bad, because otherwise we'd be bottom of the league, surely. So what's the keys to success for you?
I mean, the big thing for me this season, I think we need to just start winning the games that we won last season that we've dropped points in this season, like Leicester at home, Liverpool at home, won them quite comfortably last year, but dropped points this year. So I think that's kind of what's taken us out of the title race. So I think maybe I think top three is a good aim now, and a good cup run. Maybe a trophy would be nice, but I think that's the sort of thing we need to look at doing.
I mean, you've got people like Imara immediately saying, come on, you can't give up on the title just yet. TJ saying we might have lost too many points for the title, but third place in the Conti Cup, FA Cup still within reach. Imara rightly saying all it takes is a couple of good games against Chelsea, City and Arsenal. Your tongue out as much as you like, but you'd be included in that. And yeah, I think she's got a point. She has got a point. A couple of drop points by those teams does give us the opportunity to get there. But I mean, TJ agrees with you, if nothing else there. So I suppose, Emma, what I would point out from that as well, though, is in terms of the players, who do you think is going to be the player that's going to take us to where we need to get to? Is there one? Is there one within our ranks already that could do it? Is it going to be that Jays is going to be firing more? Is there somebody in the midfield who you think might pull us out of the doldrums that we seem to have been in? What do you see in terms of the team that you think might be the person that can unlock it for us?
I think Paris has done a good job at doing that already this season, so I'd probably say her. But I think it is a case of confidence with Jays. I think she will come good eventually and start scoring more. But I'd say Paris for now.
Love that people are saying Nikita Paris. It's honestly, it sends warm chills down my spine after the amount of, and I'll go there with it, the amount of abuse that I took for daring to say that she might be a good striker when she came to Manchester United, and I was absolutely put in the mud. But Nikita Paris lifted me up out of it and sticking me on her shoulders, which is very nice, because between us we make quite a tall person, so that's wonderful. Vic, there's far too much. The comments are just flying through again, but we've got here Yashui saying that he doesn't think the squad needs much change in January, other than an extra body at fullback to help with the depth that we need in the future. Anyway, more change wouldn't help the team right now. I mean, same sort of question to you, really. Which position is it? Where do you think we are strongest? Is there someone who's perhaps not had, just say a tune, someone that maybe didn't have the best start to the season visually, perhaps, that could potentially be doing something brilliant? It could be Mary Earps. I mean, we're going to get to that at some point, but if she does stay, she is somebody who's going to need to ramp up her performances a bit if we're going to have a chance to progress this season.
Yeah, definitely. I do think there's been, I would say, too much change, but some, like I said before, some things can't be helped. Players get injured and things happen. But I just think there's too much change. Last year we were quite comfortable in our 11. There was a few changes, but nothing at all like we've had so far this season. And I think it's good that, the Conti Cup, we're making more changes, but we're having to make less because we've got that many injuries. So we've not really got, we talked about the depth at the start of the season. That's kind of dipped a little bit now due to the amount of injuries and illnesses we've got at the moment, which again can't be helped, but it is something that we do have to work on. I don't think there's a specific, I wouldn't say there's a specific player who's not doing their job as they should have at the moment. I would say it's a team collective. They just don't seem one unit at the moment. Sometimes you're watching and it's like watching 11 people that don't know each other, have never played together before. It's like watching 11 individuals instead of one team. Especially, I can't remember exactly what game it was. I think it might have been West Ham first half. We were banging the goals in, but it just weren't good enough. It was 11 players just playing, on a Sunday football club. That's not good enough for me. It needs to be as a team. They were so such a close knit team last year. It needs to get back to that, and I think you can't pinpoint one player at this moment in time saying they need to get better. Yet every player on the pitch needs an improvement. Mary, she's FIFA best, but I'd make a lot of improvements with her of how she's played this season. Jay's, like we said before, she needs to start thinking about that final pass. So there's lots of players that can improve, but overall, I think it's a team effort that they need to come together, and communication is key in football to me. So yeah, that's what I'd say on that.
There's lots of people asking why Nikita Paris hasn't gone to Malta. Sporty seems to have come up with an answer for it. He says, I'm sure I saw illness mentioned on social media for the reason it keeps in Malta.
I was going to say, I've heard she's, I saw on Twitter by a few people that she's got an ear infection and couldn't fly or something, so she trained with them yesterday and then stayed at home. So that's what I've seen on Twitter a few times, but I'm not sure.
Would imagine that's what it is, but I don't think that Barcelona are putting together a six-figure fee for Nikita Paris, because that would, I am sure, be turned down. If we didn't sell Russo last year, there's no way that our top scorer is going to be leaving the squad anytime soon. Memphis makes the point, Andrew. I think the key player or person that could unlock might be Jade. As you can see how he looked in the second half against Man City compared to the first half. I mean, Jade was the only player in the end of year show that went, I call it a show, it was less of a show, more of a marathon, if we're brutally honest. The end of year marathon that was the WSL team of the season so far. I found that show very difficult, purely because I didn't necessarily think Jade has been the best player for Manchester United as a whole. But obviously, we're talking about different positions. Right back, she clearly came across as the best right back that we've seen in the league so far. First of all, would you agree with that assessment? And then second of all, is there anybody else within the defence who you feel might need to step up? Because we played the same back four, just no honour, obviously. And yet we are not doing as well defensively as we might like. So is there anything defensively that you think might need to be done in order to unlock the greatness that Manchester United produce?
I think on
Possessive.
Jade, I think on Jade, she's got better as she's had more run of games as well. I think the first couple of games she had, remember the game against PSG. She's playing further forward, but she looked a bit out of her depth and like in no man's land. She's like, do I attack or do I defend and help out Blundell? So in the first couple of games, it was just like she was having to find her bearings, but she's got better as she's gone along. I think the comment was made about players coming in, well, like a fullback. I think potentially we probably need one just in case Blundell or Jade get injured, then we really are short in terms of fullbacks as well. So I think that would be where we would actually buy it. Somebody who was going to be like loans, which I think we have done in like January transfers past as well. But yeah, I think other key players, I've said, Nikita Paris as well, but also I think Katie Zellum, the heartbeat of the team. I'm just thinking she's the one, to get the creativity and get the team moving and inspire us as well. And one player I'm looking forward to, once back from injuries, Irene Guerrero. I was like, we saw a brief glimpse at Everton, and it's like, that's what you show in that brief glimpse. Like, to get a run of games, and and she gets on a roll as well. So yeah, and say just back to our attack as well, attacking players. And say Jace, hopefully she starts firing in the goals as well. And so Rachel Williams coming off the bench as well. And whether we need a goal or she's just there to add more goals to the team as well. Yeah. I think Tooney as well. I just think, even though sometimes she's had like quiet games, she can have that one moment where she unlocks, for a teammate, or even getting on the score sheet, like Brighton away as well. That's scoring that banger, and just getting us back into the game as well. So some of the key players, I think we're going to rely on as well. But yeah, in terms of like Jade again, I think second half I can see her really kicking on as well.
Oh, what's happened here?
Has Barry gone?
Am I back? What's occurred?
You're back.
Goodness, I don't know what happened there. You stopped. I'm like, what's going on? I'm still on the internet. Everything's gone on. Oh, that was a little bit strange.
It's like, what's happening there?
But God bless StreamYard. It's all just carried on nicely. So there we go. TJ's had his quote up for quite a while. We are quite predictable. Absolutely. But I think sort of the keys that haven't quite got that bad yet. Look at him waiting in the wings, ready for something to go wrong. You can come on anytime you like, Con. I'm sure that people will be delighted to have you. But yeah, it's people like John Commode mentioning that the whole defence needs to step up. Most definitely think May Letitia, Turner and Blundell can do better. Doesn't think any of them have particularly had the greatest of seasons. But I think, as TJ and Sporty have said, we badly need more depth for our back four. And that sort of leads us into transfer season, which is sort of where we are, because we've spoken a lot now about the players that are in our club, the players that we know through our eyes and through the things that we have watched. can perform for this club. But are there any situations, any positions where we think maybe we might need to bring somebody in? Vic, we'll start with you on this one. Is there anything you can think about, any one you can think of maybe that might be somebody that we need to get in?
Definitely a right back for me. We had Honor last season and she's just insane. I still watch the games just to watch her because she's just so nice, like, to watch. Like, she's exciting. So definitely to her. I was so excited when Gabby signed for us. Such a shame of what has happened to her, but I think we definitely need that depth. I mean, Jade, I'm sure she goes down every week, she stays on the floor for 2-3 minutes every game, and I'm like, oh no, what are we gonna do? We've kind of not really got a backup for that. And I don't like having to keep moving Hannah over. I think it's a little bit mean on Hannah. I know she can play both sides, but she's definitely better on the left. So I definitely, I'd say, we need a right back as an emergency. And I'm not going to lie, maybe a winger, because Lucia and Galton for me are not doing it at the moment. I feel like Lucia needs a little bit more of a chance because Galton keeps starting. But then again, you could do, Paris and Jays and then Mallard down the centre. Again, then you'd still need somebody on the bench. So for anywhere really. So definitely those two positions, I would say. Everywhere else, I feel like we've kind of got quite a lot of midfielders. I know Hinny's just been injured, but we have got quite a few midfielders. We've got Irene coming back as well, hopefully. But yeah, I'd say right back and maybe a winger. Maybe that's me being a bit harsh because we have got a few, but just to kind of mix it up a little bit and make sure we have got somebody there in case something happens. And I think the last game we played, Liverpool, I looked at the bench and there was Gemma Evans on the bench and that was it. And obviously 2 goalkeepers, but they're not going to get used. So, it's like, I looked over and I was like, so if something happens now, Millie's being the 9, Gemma's coming on, what is going on? We haven't really got that depth of, we could just look at the bench and help us anymore. We need some more, definitely need some more bench warmers, I guess.
Interesting. I mean, I've not seen this person in our chat before, so lovely to see you here, Lucky. They said maybe Jays plays a 6 in the midfield. This is a take that I didn't think I'd see today, but it's one that here I am looking at it and reading it off the page. Since she's so good at taking on players and getting out of tight situations, but late to release it. So maybe Paris plays the wing position and she's good at it. Emma, the reason why I bring that up is because then they come back in and say again another holding midfielder to cover the back line. Where do you stand, Emma, in terms of the midfield? Vic and I have a constant back and forth, as I do with Connor sometimes, about Zellum. Zellum can't do anything wrong, in my opinion. She is the light of my life and just a wonderful human being. And quite frankly, she'll never be heard bad of whilst on this channel. But in all seriousness, she is a very good player who has the numbers when it comes to playing defensively. But the general consensus seems to be amongst some fans that she can get overloaded too much. Do you feel that she needs someone else to go with her? We've got Hayley Ladd. Is it just a case of using Hayley more? Is she another key to our success? Do we depend on the fact that Guerrero's coming back? Or is there somebody out there who you might like to see? Do you agree with Lucky, in other words?
I mean, I don't. I've always thought that we could do with a proper defensive midfielder because I love Zellum as well and I think she's a great player, but I think she's more creative, more attacking minded, but I feel like she's always put more in a holding role. So I feel like we need someone who's more naturally into that role to either help her out or take her place so that Zell can play further forward. I've always kind of thought that.
So you're one of those who agrees that Katie is better further forward.
Yeah, definitely.
Play the 6, I suppose. Yeah. On her own.
I don't know.
Fair enough. And with regards to what Vic just said as well about a winger, do you have sort of any thoughts with regards to the front line in terms of perhaps what your top three would be? Do we need to bring somebody else in? Is there something else we need? Obviously, we had Emma Watson come in, but she got injured, so therefore, potential cover for Toon if at any point needed. Are we in that sort of situation? We've got Miyazawa, she's now injured as well. So, through these injuries, we have caused ourselves a little bit of an issue with regards to the depth, as Vic mentioned.
I think that is the thing. I think it is just injuries, because I don't think we need to necessarily bring in a new forward player, because I think we do have a good selection in the front line. I mean, I think I'd like to see Lucia get more minutes than she gets, because I think she's just always... I think if anyone's going to score, it's most likely going to be her. But if there's any position that I really think we need to get back up in, it's the fullbacks, and I've thought that for ages.
Okie dokie, fair enough. Andrew, I'm not convinced I've asked you anything with regards to positions at the moment. So Poppy Pritchard here being mentioned by James Newhill. Apparently I went again. I don't know what to help you with on that one. If I go, I'll be back, as Arnie would say. But anything for you, Andrew? Any players, any positions that are sort of standing out for you as to where we might need to... After all, that was Emma that went. Look at that. It's all right. Oh, my goodness. The world is going mad. It's chaos. It's the first show. It's exactly what you'd expect, clearly, after a little bit of time off. StreamYard's had a mare. Andrew, yes, over to you.
Yeah, definitely in the full-backs position. I just think we need somebody in the just as a backup, because if either Hannah or Jay get injured, then we are pretty much stuck. I know Maya can move to her right back as well, but then you're moving her out of the centre-back position. That'll leave us short there. I know Aoife's on the way back, but somebody said in the comments there, it's just building that fitness back up and the match fitness as well, so you can't expect her to do a full 90 minutes. Then again, last season she did it for I think she came back and it was the Arsenal game, did a full 90 minutes and just put in one hell of a performance. So technically you could throw her straight into that. I think probably the left side in terms of like winger as well. I just think in the Liverpool game, I thought Leah Galton should have been taken off in the second half. I've never seen someone fade so fast and quickly. I was like, needed to be taken off, and I just thought maybe just need a backup on that position as well. But also maybe moving some of the players like positions. I'm just thinking, could you move Paris on the right and maybe move Jace to the left and Mallard through the middle as well? So. I mean, that's the debate, isn't it? Well, whether having Jace or Mallard through the middle, who's going to be the better one at doing that role as well. So, an interesting one, but those are probably the two key positions, the centre-back and full-back for me. I just think midfield-wise, I think once we get those injured players back, I agree with you, Barry, Katie Zellum, couldn't say any more words about it, but I think she needs a bit of help as well. Maybe the key is Hayley Lads. I think she probably needs a bit more game time as well, because you can see Hayley Ladd will, get back and help out the defence, and that unlocks Katie a bit more as well. So we'll have to see when the likes of Hinnie are back and Irene Guerrero, where they fit into the team. As Mark Skinner said, this squad has needed time as well. So they've had a first half of the season together, so it's got to start to click in the second half of the season to go on a good run in the league and the cup competitions.
Some very good points there made by all. Evo back in again with us. See what he's trying to do. Is Ellen as a single pivot, being the hub of the team. She's great on the ball, links people up well, but we've lost it defensively as a result, and teams are exploiting this. Still lots of talk about Jade Riviere, obviously, and the fact that she is pivotal, for want of a better term, to our defence. But going forward, Erling mentions, can we bring Grace back from loan now, or is that not an option in the loan agreement? It's a great question. Absolutely great question. And you would need someone far better connected than I to know the answer to that question as to whether or not something like that exists. I mean, it would be nice, wouldn't it? Just speaking as a fan, that would be a wonderful thing if we could get Grace in. But then having said that, will she get the time and I suppose that's what she's getting at the moment at Spurs, is the ability to play regularly. Isn't that the purpose of a loan? So I don't know if she comes in, she'll be playing second fiddle to Mademoiselle Toon. So actually, do you know what? I'm really looking forward to the FA Cup next week. It's going to be Toon v Toon because we're playing Newcastle. So I'm just trying to think of all the different puns that I can come up with over the next 7 days as we start getting ready for those. So exactly this, see, right? So would she have a place in the starting lineup? And as TJ says, Grace is more of a 10 than a 6, though. So still people genuinely saying it's the 6 that we need to worry about. If you haven't made yourself a cup of tea yet, now might be the time to do it if you are somebody who is not a massive fan of this conversation. I say that 'cause it's been flying about. Probably going to have 5 minutes on it because it's the sort of thing that goes in, but it's been mentioned a lot in the chat as well, and we're not going to ignore it. There's been lots said about this. You know, Jake said also never let Earps play again after this latest PR campaign. Something in the Athletic today, again saying that Mary is looking to move on effectively. John Commode saying, I think I would change the goalkeeper. I stand by that. She isn't helping the team. She's focused. I don't really know what to say. JJ's been calling it Mexit, which, you know, is a giggle. But I think the shocking thing for me, right, and I'm not going to go off on one of my rants. The world knows what I feel about Mary Earps. But she's a brilliant goalkeeper, Andrew, right? We know that. She is. Very, very good goalkeeper. Best goalkeeper in the world. And she's done a great thing for women's football. But, yeah. Wants to go. And it's just a bit of a nightmare, isn't it? What do you make of the whole Mary Earps thing? So I was shocked to see All United put out a poll, basically, or put out a thing asking if they would be bothered. Would we want to sell Earps to PSG? And overwhelmingly, the vast majority of people, it's before the watershed, so I don't know how to put this, couldn't give a monkeys. They'd be quite content, you know, stay, go, whatever. They just don't seem to be as fussed. Where do you stand on it?
I'm just reading some of the comments about Mary Earps. I'm thinking, somebody said it reminds me of the Rooney transfer where he tried to go to Man City, and I remember Fergie saying, "Oh, the grass is not always greener on the other side." So I always think if you want to play for the club, you'll stay, and if you don't, you can just leave. I know the Athletic have been reporting that, you know, PSG are interested in signing as well, and technically they can make a pre-contract agreement, but I just think it's becoming a bit of a circus now. I'm just like, you're either going to stay or you're going to go. Just let's get it all sorted, because it's just going to start affecting the team even more. And I'm just thinking in the first half of the season, I'd say Mary's been a bit up and down in her performances, and I just feel like the defence has just lacked a bit of confidence at time. And I'm just thinking sometimes in games where I feel like Mary should have come out and got the ball, just like the defenders are having to sort the situation out, or when things have gone wrong, it's like, you know, everyone's like looking at each other and no one's been taking any account for themselves as well. I'm just feeling like from Mary's side, just giving a bit more confidence to the defence as well. But I know United probably have got a limit, well, a target in mind if they wanted to sell her in this month as well, but whether PSG meet that or any other club as well. But I know she was reported back in the summer like she wants to leave as well, and then she, like I said last month, I don't know what's going to happen currently, and it's just interesting. Like the other day, she moved to a new agent. I thought, well, it's clearly obvious, you know, your new agent's going to try and get you a new deal somewhere, whether it's staying with us or, you know, a new club as well. But I think if she stays, what does that say to Fallon as well? Thinking we paid a record amount for him, like. She's not going to want to sit on the bench for how many more years as well. So, I mean, when she came in the Liverpool game, I'm just like, she was impressive. And I mean, that, just thinking back to that save, and I just think she literally had a split second to react. I remember her pushing the Liverpool player out of the way and then just getting her hand to tip the ball over. And I'm just thinking, if your reflexes are that quick, I'm just thinking, wait till when you get on a run of games as well. So, if Mary stays, she stays. If she goes, she goes. Well, she's got to decide now. And what to do next, and the club will see what they do next with her.
Will indeed. Some very interesting points going on there. NT just came out with this one saying Saf played a blinder in the press conference when the Rooney news broke. It was brilliant to watch. And the reason why I found that funny is I'm sitting there going, when did Safia Middleton Patel do a press conference? And then I was like, with Rooney. So for a good 30 seconds there, I was wondering what on earth had happened and what we were talking about. And then, of course, I realised you meant, of course, the GOAT, Sir Alex Ferguson. Jay Hill saying Polly Bancroft should be tough and say to Alex, make your mind up, stay and sing a new contract or go. This we've seen her do a lot on TikTok. Maybe singing will be the next thing that she does. Who knows? Vic, I for here's put it's going to be funny with Earps, Panios, Misa, and Roebuck looking for a club. That is something that's been touted. Would you welcome Ellie Roebuck instead of Mary Earps?
To sit on the bench, yes. To be in the goal, no. I think that'd be quite disrespectful actually to Fallon. I mean, she's proved to us that every game she's played, she is unreal. And I'll say it here, I'm not bothered. I mean, I've never been a Mary fan. When she was, I'm an England fan as well, Lionesses. I love the Lionesses, but I've never been, I like Mary, like she's not one of my favourite players. What I think you need in a goalkeeper these days is to play with your feet, and she cannot play with her feet. So, I mean, De Gea left. He couldn't play with his feet. He was great in a one-to-one situation, so was she. But can't play with the feet. And for me, I'm pretty sure every WSL side now plays from the back, if I'm right in saying. And we are struggling to do that because of the fact that our goalkeeper cannot use her feet. She gets muddled up, she missed times with the ball, and her goal kicks aren't that good. So I'll say it here, I'm not bothered. Like, to me, she needs to be gone. I don't care if she goes to WSL side. I don't care if she goes abroad. I don't care where she goes. If she wants to retire, that's absolutely fine. But as long as she needs to get out of this club, because if we want to progress as a club, we need a keeper who wants to be there, wants to do her job, and can play with the feet, because that is the modern way of playing football. And if she was looking for a club now, and, you know, if she didn't have the name Mary Earps, she wouldn't get signed, because people want to play from the back, and she doesn't do that. So for me, that's enough said. I want her out, and yeah, I've never been a Mary fan. Like, she's not someone I'd go to and say, can you sign my shirt? Because no, it's just not for me. I just don't think she's got a good attitude. I don't like the way she treats the other players on the pitch, screaming at them. I think it's really rude. You know, at the end of the day, you're a goalkeeper. That's your job. You get paid a lot of money to do it. So crack on and get on with it, or leave. So there you go.
Very interesting. I mean, Yushui says here, if it's about distribution, PCJ is, later, back again. God, it's brilliant. What's going on here with this screen of mine?
I do agree with that comment. Fallon, I do think that's her worst thing, is the distribution of goal kicks. But she's not had a lot of playing time, and she's not really getting the opportunity. So at the end of the day, she's got a lot less experience than Mary, so she should be less. She shouldn't be as good as that, if you got what I mean. So yeah, I'm a PTJ.
It's a very interesting one. It really is, because, you know, we have this conversation over on the men's channel. It just feels like we're redoing the David De Gea saga from last season. But people keep talking about goalkeepers playing with their feet. Every goalkeeper plays with their feet. Like, the game is football. So they all kick the ball, whether you like where it goes or not. You know, it's ultimately the goalkeeper's job, in my eyes, always has been and always will be, keep the ball out the back of the net. We can work on kicking it. Somebody else can take your goal kicks if they really need to. There's 101 million different things you could do, but actually being a goalkeeper that is good at saving the ball is vital. Emma, we've hit a point where Mary Earps is the best goalkeeper in the land. And She got there with the help of Manchester United, with the help of Casey Stoney and Mark Skinner, dragging her back into the international scene where she was completely absent for a while. She talks about feeling, you know, I don't know if depressed is the right word, but certainly down at the fact that her international career seemed to be over and being in a dark place. It was Manchester United that helped build her back into the goalkeeper that she is now. The problem we've got is that we know how good PTJ is. We've seen her play. We know that she is a good understudy, for want of a better term, right now. We can't afford to let this go on for another 6 months like Russo and Battier. I think the difference there, was it not that with Russo at the time we were trying to get into the Champions League and we didn't really necessarily have the greatest of depth, whereas at the moment we're talking about, 3, 4, 5 different people that could potentially play up front. And also being in a situation where with Battier, she really was the best right back, possibly in Europe. So you're not going to get rid of her. Plus, she wasn't agitating for a move. It was just clear that she was going to go. Mary Earps, it looks like, is going to run down her contract at the rate that it's going at, and could potentially leave in 6 months' time if she doesn't go now. But where do you stand on this Mary Earps situation? Because it is different, isn't it? Whereas this time, if an offer was to come in, it might make sense to sell now because we do have a ready-made replacement sat on the bench.
Yeah, I love Mary. I really do. But I think we do have to be ruthless about it. I think if an offer does come in, ideally from a team that's not in the WSL, then I think that we should just sell her, because I think that's what we've bought Fallon for, with the idea in mind that Mary won't be with us next season. Like, similar to how when we bought Jade, I think everyone kind of knew that it meant that Honor was going to leave in the summer. So I think that's kind of what we should do. And I'd be very happy with Fallon in goal. I think she's shown from the limited time she has played for United, I think she's been really, really strong. But yeah, I just don't want this to go on for another 6 months. So if we can sort it this window, then great.
You're somebody who just said you like Mary Earps. Let me be clear. I liked Mary Earps. It's never been a situation here that I hated Mary Earps. I don't dislike her. I don't wish her ill. I'm not sitting there hoping that her milk and her cornflakes are turned sour or anything like that. It's not against Mary Earps. It's about the treatment of the club and the fact that we've put all in. And I mentioned this because Imara's pointed out, Yola quick to turn on a player. And I just don't believe it's a case of Yola quick to turn on a player. I think it's Yola quick to turn on your team, because it's the team that's helped make you. Do you agree with anything that I'm saying here, Emma, about how visually the way this is coming across to be agitating for a move? Yes, she's the world's best goalkeeper. Yes, she's winning loads of awards. Yes, she's about becoming an MBE as well. Which I just thought was to Mary bloody Earps, but apparently not. It's the sort of thing that you'd shout every time that she saved the ball. But there's just something distasteful about the way this whole 6 months has been, really, is there not?
Yeah, I don't know. I think arrogance is kind of the word that sort of comes to mind. I don't want to call her arrogant, but I think the way this whole situation's being handled is a little bit not how I would do it, basically. But I don't know what it is, but it is different to the two situations we had last season, I think.
Fair enough. JJ saying Seller get a decent number 2. Chelsea have Berger, Musovic and Hampton. They're preparing already. Sinsberger would like to have a word with Arsenal fans, trying to get them more high ground. Says High Lane. It's not about liking the player, says Sarah Sproston. It's about what's best for my club, the club I love. I only want players who want to play for the badge. I totally get that as well. And Jake saying if a player says she wants to leave, then that's a betrayal of fans and a club. Look at how we talk about Honor against Earps. And it's called a Juso. I don't know if that was an attempt at making it Judas and Russo, and he's being really clever there, or if he's just misspelt Russo. I think it's the first. I think he's come up with a new word there, which I quite like. So, good. Okay. Some other questions that have been sort of thrown in. Dave mentioning that there's been too many ins and too many outs in one go, which was potentially part of the problem. I deliberately included Mark Skinner on the thumbnail today. Sporty's asked this question. Does the panel think Mark is going to be fighting for a contract renewal? For me, I wanted to see progress on last season. I'm not saying he's solely to blame, but it's easier to shift the manager on. again, this just takes me back to the problems that we have when we get to the men's side. It's very easy to sit and blame the manager when it's the players that are playing the game. How do we feel, just generally, about Mark and how he is approaching this season? And do we think that he will get a new contract at the end of the season? We'll kick off with Vic on that one.
I actually really like Mark. It's just not nice to sit next to the bench at LSV when he's on one. That is not nice experience. I never want to experience again. But no, I really like Mark. I think he's good with the players. Sometimes the only thing I would say is I question these subs that he makes. Sometimes I'm like, what were you thinking there? But it's his job. I'm not a manager, so he knows better. But yeah, I really like him. I don't think he will be fighting for his job. Half of the reason because I don't think United will be bothered to replace him. So I think they'll just do the easier option and keep him. The team is on the up. So I guess, I kind of will stick up for him a lot like this year because, I know you shouldn't blame it on that, but injuries have been against us. Like, not all the stuff is his fault. I mean, I don't know what his lineup was at the City game, but he's not done it since, so he's obviously learned his lesson. So there's things like that I think he does, and I'm like, what are you doing? Like, why have you done that? But then I do agree with a lot of things that he does and why he does it, and I think he treats the players well. I think he's strict enough with the players as well, which I think is a really good point to make. That I do think he's, he comes across like he's firm with them, but also he's good in a way that he's direct, but also like caring with them. Like, from an outside, that's what it looks like. But no, I really like him. I don't think he will be fighting for his job, and I think as long as we keep going on the up, he'll be fine. But that is something that we need him to do. We need to make these players keep going on the up for the club and hopefully get us a trophy. I think that'd help him and us a lot this season. So yeah, but the subs, that I just get questions about those all the time. I'm like, what is he doing? But like I said, he's the manager, not us. So he knows them players inside and out, and he knows what's best for the club and for them. So
interesting points. Sporty returning back with what you said there. Rather than shifting players who aren't doing their jobs, it's easy to move the person who seems to be in charge. I get what you're saying. Of course it is. Of course it's easier. It doesn't mean it's right. Just because it's easier doesn't make it right. Because that's the problem we had on the men's side. Like I say, just get rid of the manager, what remains? The players. And it's not the manager playing the game. The manager is not the person using their two little feet to try and put that little round thing into the back of the great big bag that's surrounding those white posts, So I get where people are coming from with it. I'm not against people having that conversation. I just don't quite get it myself. What I will say here as well, maybe I'm misreading what's going on, but the thing I don't like about Mark is his bellowing orders. It doesn't look good. Have you ever tried whispering or just talking nicely to people that are the other side of a pitch? They don't tend to hear you. I do a lot of coaching, boys and girls at a youth level, and I'm not being funny. Sometimes I'm shouting at the top of my voice and they still don't look. So either I'm really rubbish at shouting or it's difficult to hear somebody over the course of a match and across distance. So, I think shouting's happened in just about every single thing. Emma, Ego saying my main beef with Mark is subs. You got any beef with Mark Skinner? What's your thoughts? Will he still be here at the end of the season? Do you think he's fighting for that contract, or is that it?
I don't know. I feel like, obviously we've heard a lot about how United are trying to renegotiate with Mary Earps or whatever. Not really heard anything about renegotiating with Skinner. Tactically, I think he's a good manager. His in-game management, though, is what I have issues with, and that's the whole thing of subs. I just don't think he makes the right decisions a lot of the time. But for me, I like him, but I don't think I'd feel too strongly either way in the summer whether he stayed or went, to be totally honest.
Interested in for you, Andrew?
Yeah, depends how the second half of the season does go for him as well. I'm just thinking, like everyone said, you question the in-game and like the substitution and the timing of them as well. I'm thinking the game before Christmas, the Liverpool one, why Leah Galton didn't get subbed off, because I thought she was having no effect in that second half, and I thought you took Tierney off, who was one of our better players, and like, yeah, I was thinking that was a bit of a weird one, and why he done that as well. But of course, this season's been many ins and outs as well, and I'm just thinking it takes time to bed in those players. And I think when he first came into us, he didn't literally, he had to hit the ground running. And I remember, I think it was Ellen saying it took us a good few months to get used to his ideas, his style of play, before it all started clicking. And I think hopefully in the second half of the season it all starts to click together, and hopefully we can, finish inside the top three as well. It's like some comment earlier about giving up on the title. Well, mathematically, it's still possible, so you never know. But if we can get inside the top three, a good cup run as well. Nice to go back to Wembley for the FA Cup. It would be, or even the Conti Cup, because I know that's going to be at Molineux, is it? So it's only down the road from me, so it won't be too far of a journey. But in terms of Skinner, it all depends on what backing he gets from above as well. Obviously, Sir Jim coming in now, whether he's had his meeting yet with him or anybody, you might say, I need this, this and this. Can you deliver that for me? And then we'll see how good the team can really be. So we'll see at the end of the season whether he's staying or it's past is new for him, and we're looking for someone else out there.
Fair points all round. Just brought up High Lane's thoughts here. As much as he's saying he's good with the players, you do have to question the way he deals with some of them. Vilda last season, totally agree with that. Irina pre-injury this one. I mean, yes, she didn't play much, but you've got Hayley Ladd and other people, Nelson as well. So we've had that before. It's constant, Barry. Says Dave, you don't hear other managers do it, not like Mark. Well, I'd say maybe you're not watching all the football that I've been watching, and I see people shouting a lot. But whatever, I'm not going to argue about it. And that was this one. Erling's answered the question from earlier. Just thought I'd throw that one out there for you. Tom Gary has just put on Twitter that United are not planning to recall Grace during the window, so Grace Clinton potentially could be recalled, but isn't. So there we go. That's kind of where we are with the whole Mark Skinner thing, really, isn't it? Is that if he chooses not to, that would be a little bit crazy. And as High Lane says, let's be honest, when the results are poor, he really doesn't help himself. Rarely does he admit when he's made an error. So, yeah, it's a tricky one. He's got probably a few months to sort of show us what he can do. Right, we said we'd have a short mention of it. So here we go. This seems like the good points come into it. It's not off topic at all. We did say we'd have a short go on it. So in the comments, you want to throw some things in, feel free, but hold some back because, as I say, on Monday, this will be a big topic. But Vic, for you, first of all, we've seen a lot about Ineos potentially coming in. It's not ratified yet, as we know. So, all of this stuff that's going on at the moment could all be for nothing if the people in charge of the game say, no, it can't happen. But providing Sir Jim Ratcliffe and Ineos do get their 25% minority share in the club, what are your thoughts and hopes for the women's team with regards to that? What's your first thoughts?
I honestly, I try and not listen to things with the takeover. I find it just annoys me. So I literally just stay clear of it. I'm just, I'm a fan that just wants to watch the football. And I like the men's and the women's, so I don't really care as long as, we can keep improving and they can help us do that. So that's something that I would say. The only thing I would say is that I kind of hope that the women's football gets a little bit more recognition with whoever takes over, because I do feel at other teams that the women get treated a lot better than they probably do at United. I feel like at United it's kind of put on the back seat, which the men's team brings in a lot more fans, so I kind of get it at one point, but also the women's football is just growing, and it needs to keep growing. So that's all I'd really say, is that as long as they keep, trying to progress women's football and supporting the women's football as well as the men's, then I don't really care who has us. I really don't. As long as we're still called Man United and we're still red, I don't care.
Fair enough. John Commode saying it's good to see us meeting Skinner in the team this week as well as the men's. Need to strive to improve the culture that's been rotten at the club for a good while. Which is what Highlane says. The immediate priority has to be altering the structure above. This is why I'm not that fussed about the whole Skinner thing at the moment, because until the head of the snake is sorted, really, it's not going to work out, is it? But so many of our problems stem from the abysmal way things are handled from above, especially with how everything dragged so long. So hopefully if that was to occur, that would be all good. Emma, Dave Brailsford, somebody coming in, the man that talks about marginal gains, which was how we got to have such a good Olympic cycling side. He's a guy that kind of knows what he's talking about. And this is what I was hoping would happen with a minority stake, that, Jim Ratcliffe would come in, make the changes that are needed so that we actually run like a football club again and not just like, some sort of, like in Mario, when you used to go moving along in Mario and you jump up and it'd make coins come out of the box. Kind of felt like Man United were just the box constantly getting hit so that the coins would come out of it for people to catch. What's your thoughts on the takeover?
To be honest, I've not read too deeply into anything that goes on like upstairs. I've only read like the absolute basic surface level stuff. But to me, it's like what Vic said, really. I think as long as they're involved with and invest in the women's team, probably more than the Glazers did, then I'm happy.
Fair enough. And Andrew TJ saying they also need to address top 3 reasons why so many players want to leave. I'm seeing a lot of this. A lot of things being made out of the fact that a lot of people left the club. It's not unnatural to get rid of. I mean, at the beginning of the season, we were celebrating the fact that we had got rid of, I apologise for the use of the term, but deadwood, people that weren't playing, weren't part of the club necessarily, weren't people that were chosen to play for Mark Skinner. So why keep them here and hold them back? But I mean, TJ's right. There are players that do want to leave. Leslie Russo wanted to leave. Mary Earps at the moment, we're having this conversation with. That's 2 years on the trot where we've had that. What is it that you think Ineos might change for the women's side?
I just think, well, with Ineos and Sir Jim coming in, it's not the end of the Glazers, but it's the start of something with, Sir Jim. So we've been fighting for many years to get rid of the Glazers. So hopefully this is the first, on the road to getting, them gone within like the next 3 or 4 years. So Sir Jim can have the full complete takeover of the club. But I think at the moment, from what I'm reading there, it's like they have been there at Carrington and Old Trafford, and it's like finding out all about the club and how it runs so far. So they've got their ideas, and I think even from the men's side, I remember 10 out of 10, he's had his meeting as well and saying, they've got their ideas, I've got mine, we're going to try and integrate it together. And I'm presuming Mark Skinner's done the same as well. So, like I say, when it was all announced the takeover, they did say they wanted, as the comment said there, they want the women's team to be the best in the world. So it's just backing them up with, with the right players, but also the investment in facilities in Carrington as well. Because, fought hard, because the women's team have got their own facilities now. They was having to share before. Now they've got their own proper facilities to train and, as well. So, but I'm just going to, at the moment, it's just going to have to see what the next 6 months bring from the Ineos and Sir Jim. So hopefully the Premier League will ratify it. I think I've read that they could do it as early as February. So it would have took 8 weeks. So we was looking at the beginning of March. So it could be just a month earlier. So, but for them to get going, I think we're going to start to see it from 6 months onwards. It's not going to be, overnight. A lot of fans probably want to see, can we have all this change? But it's going to take time. Players are going to be coming and going, and the investment in the facilities as well. So just got to give them time. But hopefully, this is on a road to a better time than getting rid of the Glazers to boot in a good few years' time.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Yashui saying, I don't know about Ineos and the women's team. Nice don't have a prominent women's team. FC Lausanne Sport aren't a big women's team either. I really don't think it will change much. I think it's really interesting that people try and put Nice on the same level as Manchester United. It's an entirely different place, different country, different everything. The WSL at the moment is taking the world by storm. So let's just be 100% clear that anybody coming into Manchester United will have to have a think about the Manchester United women's team a little bit more than they probably need to at Nice, where I'm sure it seems like the rhetoric between the two leagues are a little bit different. And TJ pointing out that he's not meaning the players that the club don't want, but rather the players and coaches who the club did want to keep that left. Evo, there's been lots to talk about whether we should be playing more matches in Old Trafford. And obviously there was the stuff that came out about Arsenal having a better average in terms of attendances, so maybe that is something, but that's potentially for another fans forum, because we have one last little topic that we want to talk about, and we're going to let Emma lead on this one, which was the one about Malta, because obviously tomorrow we have a nice game in Malta in the sun. There's been some lovely pictures being thrown out there by the women's admin. So what do you think is the importance of having this trip to Malta? We saw it last season, we had that, and in the nicest possible way, we just ripped that Maltese side apart. I think we scored something like 10 or 11 goals. They didn't gain anything in terms of knowledge. Is this just about getting the fitness back together, ready for a second half of the season? What's the purpose, do you think? And how can Mark's going to use that, going back to what we said, as a key to his success for the rest of the season?
Yeah, I think it is a lot of just fitness, because obviously there's been the Christmas break and there's still a while before the season properly starts again. So I think it is just a case of fitness. But I also think it's a good idea, like a good chance for different players to sort of be tested around. Obviously PSV are a presumably decent side. So I think it's a good chance to, try different combinations, see different players, see how they get on, just so we don't have to do it in the league, which I don't think Skinner likes to do too much. So I think that's kind of what I'd use it for.
Fair enough. Andrew, what would you be thinking about Malta? I mean, for a start, it's live on MUTV apparently, which I don't think it was last year. So that's a bonus. Learning from the situation of last season and giving fans the opportunity to watch it. But yeah, Malta, what is it for you? Is there going to be anything that's going to help Mark Skinner? Is it just a case of, like we say, just getting minutes into the legs?
Yeah, guys being put on MUTV, because I remember last year the reason why they did it is because the men's were playing that Friday night against Everton in the FA Cup. So
and who would we rather watch?
Well, I was at Old Trafford, so I was trying to find out the result, and so I was hearing like the goals flying in Malta. But I think this time it might a bit more of a test from PSV. So I'm just thinking they're like currently fifth in the division as well. So it's good to go up against a European side. So and I think it would be like for getting those minutes in the legs as well, and for some of those players that haven't had much of a game time as well. I'm just thinking we need all the players to hit the ground running when we come back for the FA Cup against Newcastle and the fixtures from there on in. So I'm just thinking, looking at the squad who probably needs a good few minutes. I don't know whether Skinner's, he's a bit like Ten Hag, so he likes to try and play the same 11 all the time. I'm just thinking, is he going to be like, first half he's going to play a certain 11 and in the second half he'll play a different 11, or is he just going to, give those players he's looking to see playing the FA Cup game, the more minutes. So I'm just hoping he just gives them an equal amount as well, because I think that'll be fair on those players that have all gone out there as well. But yeah, I just think minutes in the legs will be the key as well.
Well, I'm going to ask Vic this last little bit of the Malta question, and you're an elite athlete in terms of the things that you do, and I don't say that as a gag. I know that usually when I say things on here, I'm ripping the mickey out of somebody, but like genuinely, you do have this good sporting side to yourself. And why is it we've had to go to Malta? Perhaps you can try and help us with that one, because there are lots of football clubs in lots of different places. Why is it that we've gone all the way to, because there's a plane ride here, you know, this isn't 20 minutes down the road, so you've got potential jet lag and all that sort of stuff that goes in there. Why is it, do you think, that Mark's decided to take them to Malta and not to, I don't know, Wythenshawe or Scotland, or if you wanted to get closer to the equator, Devon? You know, there's lots of places that we could have gone to potentially play a football match. Why do you think it is that you're taking them all the way over to Malta, and what do you think we'll achieve from that?
I mean, first of all, thank you, Barry. Thank you. I mean, I know where I'd rather go. I'd definitely rather go to Malta than Wythenshawe, but you know, I see your point. I mean, I think half of it is the fact that I think that team bonding really helps when you go somewhere like that. I mean, hopefully they don't get jet lag after a 3-hour flight, but they are 1 hour's difference, so you know there could be something. But yeah, I do see your point, but I do think that it's more kind of like, oh, we're going on a trip, and you know, it's like inviting them a little bit more than, oh, we're going down to Goodison Park and we're gonna spend 3 days down in Liverpool, and you know, we're gonna play then. Like, I think it's more inviting to the players that, you know, we're gonna go away, you can have some time to yourself as a team to do some team bonding, which I always think is really, really good. And you know, it's just play somebody different. Like, it's playing someone outside of the WSL who, you know, we wouldn't normally play or ever play really. And I just think, you know, it is good for them to see different opponents, especially when they're trying to break into Champions League. Like, it's going to happen. They're going to have to meet new opponents. I also think it's really good that they've taken some of the younger players. So that's really nice, because at the end of the day, with the amount of injuries we're getting at the moment, we might need to, you know, dip into the academy players and say, you know, we need one on the bench. Like, we did have one. We had Lucy Naywell, I want to say, on the bench for Everton Conti Cup game. And, you know, she was on the bench. She didn't go onto the pitch, but it'll be good to see how they play. I don't think there's actually enough fit players there to do 11 and 11, if I'm right in saying. I think 25 have gone, but all the injured players, apart from Hinny and Nikita, whatever's wrong with her, have gone. So I don't think there's actually enough players to do that. But it'd be nice to see them players as well. But I honestly think they've gone to Malta to more for like sightseeing thing, as in like, oh, come on, let's go. You can have some team bonding over there. You can go walk around the sea. I mean, Fallon's been scuba diving today, so you know, it's getting different things, and it's a bit of sun. It makes everyone happier when there's sun. So I guess it takes them away from all the distraction of everything. So yeah.
Very good. I think most of what you say there is spot on, and very interesting seeing what, you know, everybody else is saying, as you say, about the opposition and all of that type of thing. And I think what you mentioned about the youngsters going along, it's a bit of a strange one. It's one of those things that it doesn't help really in terms of the first team, in terms of getting ready for the second half of the season and that sort of thing. But then also, is it an opportunity to see how some of those youngsters can perform when playing with some of the first team members? Is this a way in which we can start looking at possible pathways for the youth of Manchester United women as well? So there we go. Right, I've got a few starred comments, so let's just have a little look. Yvonne Lawless did ask the question, which women's teams are treated better? Somebody must have mentioned that, but I don't know. Good question. TJ, great point. Anything to reduce the blaming or finger pointing thing, which I think 100% that would be nice. Jake's gone. Sunbury. It's like you're the type that would go to Blackpool on a holiday, as if there's something wrong with going to Blackpool on holiday. There's some wonderful places in England and the United Kingdom. So plenty of places you could go. I'm not a massive fan of the sun. You see, this thing here, just it's got no protection whatsoever. So yeah, for me, the sun, we don't get on. If I had my way, anytime I left the house, I would pay somebody, if I had the wages, to hold like a parasol so that there was never any sun on me. I'm not a massive fan of the sun. So there you go, fun fact. But yeah, Blackpool. And of course, this is the question that everyone's been waiting for, Vic. Was Sir Jim the celeb who Vic met?
No, it wasn't.
You're not going to tell everybody.
Unfortunately not. It was a lot better than Sir Jim to me.
Oh, they're very merry indeed. So there we go. Well, I think, do you know what? I don't know where he's been. I don't know, TJ. We've missed Sang for some time. I know that he wasn't well, and now he's not here. So I don't know whereabouts he's gone. Who knows? Anyway, it's been lovely. Really, really good. Good for us to get back involved. We are back. That's it. An hour and 10 minutes. It's the shortest show in living memory for the United WFC. But a nice place to leave it, I think. So big thank you to everybody. Thank you, everybody, in the comments. You've been absolutely brilliant. Really difficult to keep up with you guys, but hopefully we managed to get all of you up on the screen at least once. We enjoy having you here. That's the whole point of All for United, for you guys to get yourself in on the chat. Else we need to ask, Vic, where can people find you if they wanted to? Not physically, but just on the internet.
On Twitter. I haven't put my thing there, but it's Vic Worley 3, I think.
There we go. And Emma, if people wanted to find you, do you not want them to find you? Maybe you'd just like to tell us what you're going to be doing in uni next time. Anything you'd like to finish off with and say?
No, I'm on Twitter. Talking rubbish every day.
I know the feeling. Far too long there the last few days. But again, thank you very much to both of you and to Andrew as well for popping in over there. Where can people find you, Andrew? And what sort of delights do you provide on the internet for people to enjoy?
So you can find me on Twitter on, as I say, my name, where I'm avoiding there. And on Instagram where I post my photos as well. So all the United games I go to. So there you go.
Well, I was also going to point out the fact that you do some writing sometimes as well, don't you? So sometimes
yes, I do.
Little Manchester United things for you there.
Yes, I do. Yeah. A bit of write for Stretford Paddock on the men's and the women. So you can find some of my written stuff on the website there.
There we go. So we shout out Stretford Paddock. Why not? They've done us a few favours as well. So 100% you can find Andrew's wafflings in there as well. They can find them at Stourbridge. Yes, they can, John. Far too often. Sometimes it's hard to get them back from Stourbridge, but there we are. Gang, it's been superb. Thank you all very much for joining us. Next show is going to be Monday. Definitely is going to be Monday. I know Connor says he's going to be on twice next week, so sorry for that. But, he does own it, so we kind of got to let him on every now and again. So there we go. That's it. We look forward to seeing you on Monday, where we'll take a lot more chat about the takeover, and we'll see you Monday. Night all.